Afternoon. And the key thing is to reach out there, grab back a hold of it, and the way we do that is to give local government, not just the state government, the right to license these shops, but the local municipalities. So if Grand Junction doesn't want those, or Grand Junction wants to put license fees, or Grand Junction wants to put restrictions on when, Dale, you can use those and you can't use those, that's exactly the kind of power that we want, just like in Glenwood Springs. Local control, that's going to be the key here, because we can't ignore what the voters said. It's not going to be reversed, but we can, by legislation, restrict and give local authorities the right to decide what they want to do with these medicinal marijuana shops.
I think that's a great start. You know, my office is above a head shop. Okay, can you believe it? It's just quite, you couldn't see the markings on the walls, and we moved in, and surprise, surprise. And the rare times I sit there, there's big glass windows around that office. And I'll sit there and I'll talk on the phone or chat with my staff, and I see this stream of 25-year-old white males going in and out. They're not limping. They don't have wheelchairs. I'm not sure where the chronic pain is. This issue is an embarrassment to our state. What's happened is Denver police officers are now getting calls from out of state. An officer from Omaha, Nebraska called a city officer in Denver and said, I've got a guy here with a trunk full of pot and a stack full of medical marijuana cards, and he says that it's all legal. What am I supposed to do? This is just a crime to our state. When you're kids, you had a teenager, and a teenager says, Dad, I want to go to the party. No. Dad, I want to go to the party. No. It's at this good Christian family's house, and the parents will be home. No. I promise I'll be home by 10 and everything will be okay. And the phone rings at midnight and your kid's in jail because you thought you were going to do the right thing by your child and give in. And that's what we did with medical marijuana. They said it's for a good purpose. And we capitulated because we thought we were doing the right things, and now those teenagers have stormed right over us, and they are laughing their way to the bank on this thing. I agree with local control. That's just a step before we take control of it at the state level and say if you want it for chronic pain, it comes through a pharmacy and nowhere else.
And Dan, this was, I think, for you here, and that is, this is a question on your philosophy concerning judicial appointments. And just real briefly to the audience, for those of you that do not know, is judicial appointments to the bench in Colorado are made by the governor. They're made up on recommendation by judicial nominating commissions in each judicial district. The members of that commission are also appointed, and they have a certain amount, depending on the size of the county, of folks that are non-lawyers, and a certain amount that come from a single political party. They interview people, then they send 3 names generally to the governor, and the governor makes that appointment. I just wanted to kind of lay that groundwork for you. So the governor doesn't just generally go out and just grab somebody, and decide they get to be judges. There is some process, but they make the final selection. Now, many people are interested in what process you would use as governor, both of you, to make a selection of a judicial candidate, a candidate for the bench in Colorado.
Gosh, I think you just answered half the question for me. You know the process now. I mean, there is a process, and it's controlled by a system. And so it starts with appointing a commission head and the commission members who go searching for these people for us. They screen the people for the governor. They put some recommendations on our desk, and that governor's going to go through it. Now, some governors might just say, well, who do you think? But I'm not that kind of guy. I've hired and trained and managed, and I've also dismissed people when they needed to go for many, many years. And I will be very hands-on when it comes to any judicial appointments. I'm very hands-on as an executive and a leader, and I want to see that we have experience, that they're conservative, and that they apply our Constitution and they don't do anything else. They should have one of the easiest jobs in the world. What does the Constitution say? This is what we do. It should be fairly simple. So that's the system is already there. It's about the discretion that I use as a governor to evaluate what they look like and who's going to be the right fit for you. So that's it.
long time ago, I asked a governor, in a governorship, what would be the most important thing for your legacy, the thing that lasts many years beyond your service to the people that elected you? And the governor told me it is the appointment of those judges. Now, it was a different process back then, but the process we have today, which was ably described, the governor, it is very critical that the governor makes it clear to the Judicial Commission, who in turn selects the judiciary nominees that you then in turn pick from there, and that is that you are judiciary, you're not legislative. And that will be a big difference, by the way, between Hickenlooper and all of us in this room. If he gets his opportunity, those judicial commissions will be packed with exactly the kind of people that selected the liberal Supreme Court the state of Colorado has today. That's why it is so critical. One of the questions we've got to ask ourselves today, who's got the best capability? Who's most likely to beat Hickenlooper? And I can't think of a better question to demonstrate why we've got to beat this guy, because of the kind of judicial appointments he'll put into place. So, number one, let's don't get Hickenlooper elected. Let's elect a Republican. Number two, the judges, my judicial commissions will be very, very conservative. As you know, I used to be a cop, and I have maybe too much of a bias that way. They will be very conservative on the commission, and in turn expected to appoint conservative judges. Judges that are smart, judges that are capable, judges that have common sense, but understand they are not legislators. And I will repeat that and repeat that and repeat that. And if we have any kind of misconduct and things like that, look, I won't shy away from it. I'll stand up. We'll do what we need to do with the commission. If we have to replace commission members when their terms expire, if we have to, any of those other kind of things, you will have accountability from the judicial appointments from your governor of the state of Colorado.
Scott, I'll give this next question to you. It is the second most asked question, even from our cards that we have up here. The first, interestingly enough, is 10th Amendment questions, folks, which is, I think, interesting and pleases me, since 4 years ago we'd got maybe 2. And so you guys have that on your mind. But the second, and a very close second, is amnesty and the immigration law in Arizona. So I just I'd start off to both of you to say, what's your position on immigration, the border, and Arizona's laws sort of all together, if that's not too many of part of the question?
Well, some of you may have gotten a call today which kind of self-describes what my position is in regards to immigration and amnesty and so forth. Tom Tancredo, we're thrilled to say, endorsed me this afternoon, may have called you. I have been, and different from my opponents, I have not flipped on amnesty. I have been opposed to amnesty forever. No amnesty. Now the governor of Arizona. That's where I really want to focus right now. That governor had no choice. She did exactly what she should have done. She stood up for the people of her state. That governor did not retreat, and as your governor, if Colorado was facing that very same kind of situation, I feel I have well, we are, but let me tell you, you got to see what's going on in Arizona. The federal government has refused to guard those borders in the kind of way that is supposed to be done. They're not doing their job. They put her in this corner. I support her, and you can expect, as your governor from Colorado, I'd do the same exact thing she did. I'd stand up to the federal government.